Hello, and welcome to the on-demand session of Predictive Rebalancing. I'm Jonathan Cohen. I'm the head of product of Cloud Compute and Platform. And today we're going to drill down into Predictive Rebalancing, which is the biggest feature of Elastigroup that was announced this year. Let's talk about three purchasing models for cloud compute. The first one is on-demand. When you can scale up and down for variable demand, you can start and terminate whenever you need or you want. But it is pretty expensive per unit cost. The second one is reserved capacity that can be by RIs or saving plans. This is more affordable. Per unit, but you are committed to future use. Means that you are less flexible and you need to plan ahead to make sure that you are covered. Now, if you have a new project that got right after you purchased your commitments, or on the other way around, a project that was canceled and the capacity is not needed anymore, you find yourself in situations where you're overutilized or unutilized. That's why it is less flexible. The third one is excess capacity. When it comes to excess capacity, usually it comes as spot instances on AWS or spot VMs on Azure or preemptible VMs on GCP. This is the cheapest option, but this is the riskiest one because there's no SLA. This is by design. It can be taken away at any moment. In AWS, 2 minutes, on Azure, 30 seconds. And eventually, it is really based on spare capacity. Once an on-demand usage will be needed based on this capacity, the cloud provider will taking it away from you. So these are the three purchasing models that are right now available via the cloud providers. And when we are going forward to Elastigroup, this is the exact product that actually provides the ability to combine these three pricing models. What is Elastigroup? Elastigroup is an auto-scaling group on steroids. It is powered by machine learning algorithms to run spot instances with SLA. And eventually, Elastico provides you the ability to save up to 90% cost from your compute costs with SLA. And we do that by using a sophisticated predictive rebalancing features based on sophisticated machine learning algorithms that actually predict spot instances behaviors, capacity trends, pricings, and interruptions rate. And you can see here the spot market scoring heat map that actually shows you a score from 0 to 100, where predictive rebalancing continuously optimizes your market's availability and continuously monitors the markets that you are using as part of the Elastigroup group configuration. You can see here markets from 0 to 100, and it really depends on the availability of the markets. Now, it might be that you configure the group with a score of 90, but the demand has changed, and eventually you find yourself in the same market with a score of 3 just because the demand has changed. Now, using Elastigroup with predictive rebalancing will take care of it. It will make sure that you will always be on the most available markets and most stable markets based on their scores. So how actually it works? If you are using Elastigroup and running on spot instances using Elastigroup, predictive rebalancing will continuously monitor the market of the scores. Now, once Elastigroup identifies that there is a risk for interruption, this will be symbolized as a drop in the market scores. Now, once this is identified, Elastigroup will spin up a new spot instance. Now, if you have unused RIs or saving plans, Elastigroup will launch an covered saving plans or RIs instance in order to make sure that you are covered from commitments perspective. Now, if there are no RIs available, no saving plans available, no spot instance markets available, Elastico will launch on demand in order to maintain your required capacity and to make sure that your required amount of instances are being reserved. Now, once this happens and everything is ready and the new instance has been launched, it is possible to drain the old Spot instance of its workloads, and this is exactly what happens. So once a new instance is being launched and is healthy, Elastigroup will start to drain the old instance from its workload and to have a graceful replacement. Now, in that point in time, Elastigroup runs and everything is okay and the capacity is maintained and the target is being met. If an on-demand instance was launched, Elastigroup will revert back to Spot instance in order to continuously optimize your costs once they are available. Now, this is configurable. You can say that you want it to be only on specific day, etc. But eventually, Elastigroup will try to revert back to Spot once available in order to continuously optimize your costs. Now, let's talk a bit deeper on predictive balancing and what it can do for you. So let's talk first about our platform. Spot has been founded at 2015, and since then we are managing Spot instances behavior, Spot instances workloads. This is what we do for 6 years already. From only the last 12 months, we can see that there were 132 million running instances managed by our platform. 9,685 markets are being configured right now on Elastigroup's groups configurations as we speak. And it translates eventually to more than 8 billion vCPU running hours only in the last 12 months, from May 2020 to May 2021. Given these facts, we have huge data sets of interruptions rate, market trendings, pricing trends, etc. So based on this data, we built multiple machine learning models in order to improve the Spot instances behaviors in our platform. And how actually it happens? We have 3 kinds of Spot machine learning models. One of them is interruptions models. These models are used when we want to identify whether there will be an interruption for running instances right now. So when you're running on an instance and you want to know if there should be a replacement or not, this is where the interruptions models come in place. So we have 2 kinds of them, a 15-minute model and a 1-hour model. And Elastigroup continuously monitors the market scores based on the next 15 minutes or 1 hour to see if there's a probability for interruptions. And if so, there will be a replacement or rebalance in order to make sure that your required capacity is being maintained. The other type is denied request model. When you request a Spot instance, you might get a rejection, you might get a denial. And this happens due to lack of capacity in a specific pool that you are asking for. In order to avoid situations where the platform actually launch instances that we know for sure, or based on the models that we know that probably it will fail anyways, we check using the denied request model if there will be a probability of markets that are not accepting any requests anymore. So this is the second type. Now, leveraging these 2, we built other models. One is for 1 hour, 3 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours, and 24 hours ahead in order to provide a feature called minimum instance lifetime. And I will elaborate more about this feature very soon. Now, let's see the performance of these models. Here we are looking on the predictive, on the interruptions model. And what you can see here is an axis of the risk that the model think there is on a specific market, and the number of interruptions that actually happened on this market. And what you can see here is that the model, when the model is certain about an interruption, let's say 80% and above, you can see that majority of the interruptions happens in this area. And when we look on places where the model is not certain about, let's say 10% of risk, you can see that there is almost no interruptions around this area as well. And this also translates to the false positive rate, where the false positive rate, the general false positive rate is around 5% only. So in 95% of the times, Elastigroup does not replace when there's no need. So predictive rebalancing replace usually when there's a need and there's interruptions behind the scenes. So this is what I wanted to show you around the predictive rebalancing accuracy. And the results are actually pretty impressive. You can see here significant improvement, and I will explain in a sec what this graph means. But what you can see here eventually is the days of the week. And of course, you can see that the rate of interruptions really drops around the weekends. And that makes sense. But when it comes to with predictive rebalancing and without predictive rebalancing for interruptions across all spot pools, you can see that with predictive rebalancing, you get a massive improvement when it comes to interruption rates. So when actually it happens, and what is predictive rebalancing, where you can find it, etc. So predictive rebalancing really improves the way we identify interruptions. And it will rebalance once interruption is predicted. But this is not all. Predictive rebalancing is a set of features. It will rebalance when RIs or saving plans are available for use. So if, let's say, you are running right now on spot instances, but you have unused saving plans, predictive rebalancing will continuously monitor your usage and make sure to replace or rebalance the instances into saving plans in order to make sure that you are covered from commitment utilization. It will fall back to on demand when there are no spot markets available. It will revert back to spot once there are spot markets available. It will revert back to preferred AZ or a specific instance type that you've mentioned as preferred instance type once they are available and in high score. And of course, it will make sure that your instances are healthy. So if they are not healthy, predictive rebalancing will initiate a replacement to make sure that you will get a new instance that is healthy and running. So let's jump into a demonstration to see how it comes into the platform. What you can see here is a new tab that has been released to the creation wizard of Elastigroup. And you can see here a tab called Predictive Rebalancing. This tab provides you a full journey from setting up the capacity of your workload. Let's say if you want a specific unit of instances of the CPUs, let's choose instances. Then you specify the target. Let's say I do want to have 10 instances with a minimum of 5 and a maximum of 20. You can specify the percentage of spot instances if you want to have 50-50 with all demand, or if you want to have a specific number of on demand. Let's say that out of the minimum of 5, I do want to have 5 on-demand instances. You can specify here the optimization strategy, where you can say, I do want to fall back to on-demand when there are no spot available. You can also cancel that, and in case that there are no spot markets available, the target will not be met. But most of our customers specify here fallback to on-demand in order to maintain their required capacity. You can also specify if you want to utilize commitment plans, and if you want to use reserved instances or reserved instances and saving plans. Now, one thing as part of this strategy is the cluster orientation, where you can say, I want to have a balanced environment. I want you to take care of the availability, but I do want you to take care of the pricing perspective as well. Now, when it comes to other orientations, you can say that you prefer cost over availability. Elastigroup will maintain your required capacity. We will make sure to have your required capacity maintained. But if you specify here cost, it means that you prefer cost more than availability. And this is how we will take our decisions as well. And the last one is keep it optimized. Do you want to continuously optimize your workloads or not? If, for example, for some reason, we fell back to on-demand because there were no available spot markets, for example, in that case, you are running right now on on-demand. Here you can say whether you want to revert back to spots or not. And if you do, when? Once available or upon a specific day, let's say weekends. Let's say you want to say on Sunday, I do want to have this revert back operation. Now, the continuous optimization is relevant also for reverting back to preferred AZ, reverting back to preferred spot type, reverting back to RIs or spot instances if they are available again. And then you have the instance availability. The instance availability provides you the ability to have a minimum instance lifetime defined. You can say, for example, that for your workload, you will need at least 1 hour to warm up your instance. So you can say, I do want to have at least 1 hour for this instance to run before it gets interrupted. Or you can mention 3 hours, and 6 hours, and 12 hours, and even 24 hours. What you can see here, and you've seen it in action, that the markets are being changed based on the models that we just discussed earlier. Eventually, what you can see here is that you have different markets that with 1 hour has great market scores, but in 12 hours, the probability for interruption has increased. But you still have markets that are above 80, 91, 90. And that's the magic of Elastigroup. Elastigroup will choose for you the perfect markets to be running on. And if you have a very bad markets configured in a group, as long as you have at least one market that is with a good score, Elastigroup will make sure to rebalance everything to make sure that you are on the right markets, on the stable markets, and to maintain your required capacity. Additional 3 things that you can define as part of predictive rebalancing are preferred availability zone. Let's say you prefer to be on a specific zone to save costs on cost networking, for example. You can specify preferred spot types. If your application prefers a specific instance type, you can have it here. And you can specify what is the draining timeout. So you can say that you need at least 240 seconds in order to drain your workloads. And we will take this parameter into considerations when we initiate the replacements and the rebalances. That's it. Thank you for your time. I hope this session provided you more information about predictive rebalancing, and feel free to reach out to Spot representatives if you have any questions. Thank you.